Hi, everybody, and welcome once again. Yes, imagine this. We're doing the bottom brick again, and we have this beautiful girl. Look at this gorgeous creature that I have next to me. I'd like to introduce you all to Clara. Is it Clara or Clara? What is it, Clara?
Either way. Either way.
Okay. All
Either way.
right.
Yeah.
So we have Clara, who is, gosh, you're very brave, Clara. Very brave. It's a very brave thing for people to do, the bottom brick, because you never quite know what I'm going to ask you. You never quite know where I'm going to lead you, and you never quite know how the whole thing is going to go.
Right.
Plus, um, we have so many people going to know all about you and all about your private stuff, and we always make sure that people are happy with that. We always make sure that Clara, you are happy with that, right?
I am.
Yes. So, the bottom brick exercise, many of you have seen this before. If you don't know about it, please go to my website, rosemaryaltea.com, and you can find out all about it. You can see other people who've also done the bottom brick exercise. We love our new bottom brickers. It's a club, Clara. It's a special club that we only have very few members in, but we'd love to have more members. So if you, having listened to all of this, if you watching, listen to all of this and you'd like to try, please volunteer. We take any volunteers. We take anybody. We take anybody pretty much. But please write to us and tell us why you think that you would make a good bottom bricker. All right. So now we all of us have issues. We all of us have problems of one kind or another. And the bottom brick exercise is basically, I feel that it's very important when we're trying to figure out why we behave in a certain way or why we react to things in a certain way. I think it's very important to figure out where our attitude comes from, where our feelings come from, what is going on with us that we react this way where other people might react another way. So I like to get to the very bottom. I like to find the seed, that first little seed of poison, or that first bottom brick, that first moment when we feel less or when we're made to feel less by someone, and we start to build our wall. And if we're not careful, the wall builds and builds and builds, and sometimes we can't find our way out of it. So this is why we call it the bottom brick exercise. So obviously, one of the first things I want to ask you before we properly begin, uh, why have you volunteered for the bottom brick? What is it, if you could sort of put it into a nutshell, because I'm sure there are lots of issues, but if you could put it into a nutshell, Clara, what is it you're hoping to gain from this? And what is it that you're finding such difficulty with in your life right now? Can you give us a couple of examples of why are you here?
Why am I here? Yes. Well, I think I'm second guessing my my own request too. No. Um, I think it's well, I want to get out of this is being able to control sort of the feeling that I do get, and I think it's intensified, over the years. And I think a good example is like I had my child and I had my baby and then had to go to work, right? And go back to work full time. Everybody does, right? And that's fine. And my husband took care of our daughter, and that's great. And logically, and I understand all of this. Logically, hey, you need to go to work, you need to do this, you need to do that. But emotionally, it was such turmoil for me. This, why can't I do this and this? Why can't I, you know what I mean? This constant, like, I just think of it as like a gerber wheel. I'm going round and round. I get mad, I get angry, I get frustrated, and then and I have to be careful because it will get so intense with me that I cannot, like, I can easily lose myself. life. So that's just like a little example of the intensity. And logically, I could talk about it and say, this is silly. Let it go. Why don't, why are you can't do it all. You can't be Superwoman. You can't be this. You can't be that. You see what I'm saying? But it's like this constant, like, not constant, but there are situations where I'm like, I'm trying to do it all. And I want to,
Okay.
and
So,
make everybody
so I think that not just with your daughter, I'm suspecting with your probably with your entire family.
happy.
You're always thinking or feeling inside of yourself. You're feeling that you're less than you should be because why can't I do it all? Why can't I go to
Right.
work and take care of my child? Why?
Go.
Why?
Yes, please go, Michael. No,
We got
no.
we
Go
got
ahead.
company.
Sorry. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. It's
It
fine.
threw me off.
Uh, do you need to include someone in this or no?
Well, I mean, let's just go. I don't think he wants to be part of it. So let's go.
Okay, great.
Continue.
All right. Okay, but
If they shoot him out,
if he
go
does
away.
decide that he wants to be part of it, it's fine, right?
Okay.
Okay, it's fine.
Hmm.
But you can always show him this afterwards anyway. So basically, you notice this, I think, is what you're saying, or you had this intensity when your
Yes.
daughter was born.
Hmm.
Uh, but I'm pretty sure that you had this in less intense times, with
Hmm.
less intense emotion. I'm pretty sure that this is something that is within you. It's sort of it's
Yeah.
something that you never quite feel that you're enough. Would you say that?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Now then, so I ask every bottom bricker this question. Before I ask you this question, I want to make it very clear to you. This is not about pointing the finger. It's not about blaming people. It's not about blaming anybody else. If he'd have done that, or if she'd have said that, or if I'd have had better care here, or if blah blah, we're not pointing the finger at anyone. We're just looking at the situation and seeing how that situation makes you feel. Okay,
Hmm.
so I'm going to ask you to sort of go back as far as you can and see if you can remember for me that feeling that you're talking about, no matter how much less it is, no matter how much less intense that feeling is. Can you go back? I've got the cat meowing in the background here, but that's okay. Can you go back and let's see if can you remember the very first time that you were made to feel less, not good enough, less than, lacking something? Can you remember? Go
Hmm.
back. It might have happened with your family, might have happened
Hmm.
in school, it might have happened with a particular family member, it might have happened with a teacher, it might have happened in a shopping mall somewhere. Who knows where it happened? But can you see if you can pinpoint a moment, an experience in your life when you were younger that made you feel less?
Hmm. Um,
Go ahead.
not
Keep
an ex-
Go
not an
ahead.
exact
I'm
example. I not an exact example. What I can recall is feeling like, um, maybe there was a situation or something. And I can't give you specifics, but like where, maybe two things are going on, or maybe there's some conflict and not being able to feel like, um, or, or maybe trying to feel like I can handle it or I can't handle
okay. This is
it. That
are
just,
you talking about when you were little? When
yeah,
you were a little
yeah,
girl? Now let
yeah.
me tell you what because I'm seeing little bits and pieces here of a situation. I see two girls.
Mm,
So I don't know if you had sisters,
mm,
but
no.
I see two girls. So I see conflict here with two young two young girls, two
Okay.
young children. Um, I see you as a child being the shyer, the
Mm,
holding back,
yeah.
and I see whoever this other girl is. It could be a cousin, it could be a I know a sibling, whoever it is here. I see this kid as much more forward and much more involved, and but you standing back and not
Hmm.
quite knowing what am I supposed to do.
Right.
And I
Right.
feel that you feel in that moment that you should stand up and say, this isn't right, or there's something wrong with this situation, or what she's saying isn't right, or something like
Right.
that,
Yeah.
but keeping
Yeah.
quiet about it because you were either too shy or too nervous. Does that make any sense to you at all?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Where
can
I'll
you,
bite my tongue. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, can you elaborate a little bit on that? Do you understand what it is that I'm seeing here
Um.
with this other girl? There's another girl in the picture here.
Not when I don't. It's nothing's coming to mind per se.
Okay, all
Um.
right. Well,
Nothing's coming to
let's
mind.
go a little. Let's go a little further, because well, yes. Let's just go a little further. Um, what about your parents? What about your environment? What about the environment that you grew up in?
Um. I mean, both parents love me, and but conflict. A lot of conflict.
There were
With.
conflicts. There were with
Hmm.
each other
Yep.
and
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
arguing, fighting, whatever with
Yep.
each other.
Arguing, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How did that
Or
make
some
you feel?
sort of like not unrest. Like sometimes like you'd have an argument and then it might have ended, but there was persistent unrest
Right.
afterwards. You know what I
So
mean? Like
the
this feeling
atmosphere
of,
was. Did you feel like you were treading on eggshells? Then
oh
I,
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yes,
I'm trying to be very careful not to put words into your mouth,
sure.
but at the same time, I can see this situation that you're in
Mm-hmm.
actually quite clearly, um, and you holding back or standing back,
Yeah,
and just
yeah,
not, for whatever reason, not wanting to stand up and say anything. As long as you
right.
keep quiet and you hid almost within yourself, and you didn't
Yes,
make it known that you were around, it would
right,
seem to you as if it was easier. Would you say that?
right. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, but I could
Now,
go the opposite way too if like confronted. You know what I'm saying?
and
So.
what would happen when you confronted it, Clara?
Well, I mean, it all depends on who it was. I mean, if it was, particularly my dad, who is, fiery, he'd
Volatile.
fire and fire and be like, you know,
Yeah.
which it's not really I didn't really care for that. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of energy out of you.
Yeah.
So but wanting, part of it is like putting all this energy and wanting a certain outcome or trying for a certain outcome. And logically, not everything's going to work out. I get that. But it's this emotional tying that sometimes pulls me down and I feel horrible. And I'm trying not to, show it to my
It,
daughter, you
okay.
know?
Never mind what you're doing now. Let's
Mm,
let's keep with the family
no.
issues. You said that if you confronted your dad and he was very volatile and so on. I
Mm,
mean, we know how exhausting that can be, don't we? When you
oh
live
yeah.
in a volatile situation. How did your
Yeah.
mother react to your father when he was
Oh,
volatile?
quiet, quiet. You
So
know,
so submissive then.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, quiet. Yep.
So Is there then maybe a little bit of learned behavior there? Have you
Absolutely.
learned
Yes.
from your mother that any conflict should be,
Yes. Yes.
but
Yes.
in your
Yes.
nature, in your true nature, Clara, I feel that you can be a little fiery too.
I am.
So when you're trying to suppress your natural instincts, not to blow up, but
Right.
if you see injustice, or
Yes.
if you see something going on, your learned behavior from your mother
Mm-hmm.
is teaching you just
Right.
don't make a fuss, right?
Right.
Don't make a
Right.
fuss
Right. Right.
because that's what you were taught.
Yeah. Yep.
Which, when you don't make a fuss, it allows your father to whoof, right, goes up like this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so you've learned from your mother and your mother's behavior to zip it, right?
Yeah. Right. Right.
And
Right.
you've also learned through that behavior, that also tells you, as a small child, remember we're talking about a small child, I want to know who this other girl is, because I feel that there's, anyway, we can do that later maybe. All right, very, I'm intrigued by what I'm seeing here. So, but anyway, when you learn from your mother, you just keep
Mm-hmm.
quiet, so don't say anything, don't rock the boat. Let's not rock the boat.
Yeah. Don't rock the boat. Right.
Your
Let it
mother is
go.
also teaching you. Um, let's keep the peace here, and and let's please,
Right.
let's please. Let make sure everybody's happy. That's
Yes.
the most important thing. Let's live a calm life. Let's keep the
Right.
peace,
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
right? And so,
Yeah.
okay.
And it makes sense. I mean, it does. You know.
So wait. Let's not run ahead. Okay. All right. Now, so through learned behavior, your mother particularly has basically taught you to keep the peace, and your father's very happy with that because let's face it, then he
Yep.
can blow up. There'll be no consequences to his actions whatsoever.
Precisely.
Uh, and from a child's point of view, everybody's happy. You know, everybody's pleased.
Right. Right. You're right. You're doing the right thing. Right.
However, my feeling is, as much as you have had this learned behavior from your mother, well, you're not that passive person that your mother is.
Right. Right.
You've been taught to keep the peace. You've been taught to people please. You've been taught to make everything, just let's make everything smooth and everything easy. You've been taught that, but inside of you, there is a fiery little beast sometimes that just wants to shout out about the injustice of it.
Yes.
Would
Yes.
you
Yes.
would you say that? Would you say? Okay.
Yep. Yep.
So
Hmm. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
poison, if we can call it that first drop of poison, is um, that first moment, probably, when you did not do as your mother would wish you to do, and your father probably attacked you verbally, whatever way. Don't
Right.
you? Don't you? Who do you think? Don't you talk to me that way? Whatever his reaction was,
Right.
he made you feel less.
Yeah.
The moment
Probably.
you dared to say
Right.
no,
Right.
you were made to
Right.
feel less. Does that, how does that sound to you? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, but I think I think maybe when my mom said, listen, if you just X, Y, and Z, or you just A, B, and C, why didn't you do A? You know what I mean? I think it's
That
in those
also
moments where
makes
it's like,
you feel, yes,
right, right,
that
right.
also makes you feel that you did not do the right
I didn't
thing.
do right. I didn't do that when in fact in that moment I thought, but I did that because of whatever my response
The
was. Do you see what
injustice,
I'm saying? Yes,
right?
right. Am I
I
thinking my response? Yeah.
I'm thinking that injustice is what drives you, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, and that as if what I'm saying to you does not sound right,
Right.
you have to say that no, that doesn't feel right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not pointing the finger at anyone. We're not saying that your father shouldn't have been volatile. It's in his nature anyway. So what we should or shouldn't do is beside the point. But
Right.
your mother is always also making you feel less by not behaving in the way that she thinks you should behave, which is to keep quiet. Why did you make it worse? Why did you say that? Why did you
Right.
inflame the situation?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've grown up and absorbed all of that. I know I should keep quiet, but I really can't. But when I don't keep quiet, it makes it worse. And what am I? And then you get completely confused.
Yes. Yes. It's the
So,
gerbil. Yeah.
so you see that both your parents,
Yeah.
if we were pointing the finger, we could say both of them have this, you know, ability to make you feel guilty, right?
Mhm. Yeah. In some
Yes.
respect. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, so we grow up with this. We're told how we should or shouldn't behave and so on. And then years down the road, we meet, let's say, the love of our life. All right. Would you say that you met the love of your life?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
Could you describe a little bit how your husband, what is your husband's nature to me without holding back?
Um, he is just charismatic and funny and loving and passionate, compassionate. You know,
Uh huh.
and he's one that definitely sees wrong and he wants to right it. You know what I mean, or state it.
Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
So it's all for justice, which
In
is
some respects,
probably
yeah. Yeah. For
prob-
the yeah.
probably one of the things that attracted you to him. Okay.
Hmm.
So if he is this wonderful man, and we're not saying that he isn't,
Mm-mm.
but if he is this wonderful man, okay, what is the worst thing that he ever says to you or does to you? Maybe nothing. Maybe he treats you with wonderful kid gloves, and maybe he wraps you in cotton, and maybe he values you so much, and maybe he's always complimenting you and all the rest of it because he's such a wonderful person, right? Right?
He
So
does. Yeah. Yeah.
great. So
Um, I
let
do.
me ask you.
But
I
but
will
I.
dive in for you and help you out.
All right.
Why is it then? What does he say to you or do to you, or how does he react to you that makes you feel that you can never ever please him?
He, well, there's some what I'll mess up. You know what I mean? I will
I'm
make
sorry, I
mistakes.
don't know what you mean.
Well, you
Now, you mess up
can't do.
how?
Uh,
Ha-
I'll
How?
forget something.
Oh my goodness.
You know,
Really? Oh, that's awful.
just be human. Sometimes I'm
Oh
just
no, please
mess up.
don't tell me that because that being human is so hard to take.
Yeah,
When you mess up, and we all do,
I know.
even your fabulous, wonderful husband does.
Hmm.
When you mess up, tell me what happens.
Well,
No,
I
I don't.
acknowledge it. I try to acknowledge it, see where I went wrong, and try to fix it.
Okay,
Or
you
try
go
to
to
correct myself.
you
But
go to the grocery store and you forget his favorite something, chips. He's asked you to get them and you've forgotten them, or they didn't have them, or whatever. What happens when you come home?
um,
Does he point it
Is
out?
yeah, I mean, like, say, I don't it could, whatever the case might be, it's just disappointing. It's just disappointing.
Really?
Ah, bummer. I was really
And he
looking
makes you
forward to
feel,
blah blah.
and he makes you feel that he's disappointed in you.
That's the way I take it, and
Now,
that's what triggers.
is he aware that you feel this way? Is he aware that
Some
when he
people,
makes you feel disappointed, whether he's doing it deliberately or not, is he aware that when
hmm,
he lets you know he's disappointed in you, is he aware of your response?
probably not, but not consistently, not consistently.
So he doesn't know how much he's hurt you then.
Um,
He's no clue that you're feeling more and more inadequate as a wife and a mother. I mean, is he aware or not aware? Do you tell him, I'm not good enough?
some, when yeah, I mean, when I feel pushed, you know what I mean? When,
You mean when things get really to the point where you have to stand up for yourself because it's
right,
justice,
right, right,
right?
right, right, and yeah,
See, I'm hearing two different things here because um, your husband is either a bit of a bully, as nice as he is, and probably doesn't realize that he's being a bit of a bully. So your husband is either a bit of a bully or he's absolutely and completely lost the plot and doesn't know what's going on in his own mind, never mind yours. Which would you say it was? Have you ever talked about leaving him? Has he ever talked about leaving you? Has he ever suggested this isn't working between us because for whatever reason? Does he ever say things like that?
sometimes, yeah, sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I bet that makes you feel fabulous, right?
Oh yeah, to the core. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Is he aware of that when he says those things to you? I can't live with this any longer, or however much he says it, or in any way that he says it. Is he aware of how hurtful or how hurt you are? Be honest.
I, I don't. I'm not
Look
quite
at
sure.
me. Look at me
I'm.
and be honest.
I
Tell
don't
me your
know.
gut feeling.
I don't know. I don't
How
know.
long have you been married to this? How long have you been
Oh,
married to this wonderful, fabulous, amazing guy?
20, like 20 years, 20 plus.
So, and you're telling me that you don't know if he's aware of how it makes you feel when he says, "I can't take this any
Well,
longer." You know,
usually, if it's come down to that, I'm like, I'm like, what the heck? You know what I mean? I'm usually like, what the
yeah.
heck? You
And
know,
then,
it
and
hurts
then
my
what happens?
feelings, and I say that. I do. I mean, it's sort of
And
like
then does he say, "I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to"? What does he say?
it's just quiet. You know what I mean? Just
Oh,
quietness.
yeah.
And you know, I don't. I can't explain it. It's kind of hard.
This
Um,
is what I think. I think maybe you like being a doormat,
no.
or maybe I don't really think so either. Or maybe you just don't know how to handle potential conflict.
Mm,
And I think that your husband, and I actually do think he's lovely, for the record. I know I'm seeming to bash him a bit, uh, but I do think he's lovely and I do think he cares. But I also think he's a bit of a bully
mm, mm,
because you don't react, you don't react, you don't react, you don't react, boom.
Right.
You keep the peace, you keep the peace, you keep
Keep
the
the peace.
peace, and then boom. And he probably in that moment in time has no clue why you've lost it. He's not a mind reader,
Right.
right?
Right.
I
Right.
mean,
Right.
what's he doing? Trying to keep the peace? Right. What you're trying to do, or what you are doing, is you're keeping what we call short term peace. And
Yeah.
short term peace, just for the sake of it, will
Right.
inevitably bring long term misery.
Right.
It didn't work for your mother, did it? At the end, it didn't work for your father at the end, but it doesn't have to be that way with
Right. I mean,
you.
I think what you're saying to me is to speak my truth, to be as truthful as I can and speak my truth. And
Don't. What I'm saying is, don't be afraid to speak your
right.
truth,
And I
because I
right.
think you're afraid of rocking the boat.
Yeah,
I think.
and
I
that's
think
where
you're.
I struggle.
I
I
think
I
you're
I
afraid. I think you're afraid of losing your husband.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you don't have a real communication with each other, first of all, you're
Right.
teaching your daughter
I
to
know.
keep the peace.
Right. Right.
You're
Right.
teaching
Right.
your daughter that eh, anything is worth suffering as long as
I,
like your mother. Why did you say that? Why did you do that? Why did you speak out?
right.
Instead of teaching your daughter how important it is for us to speak out.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
However, okay, when you see people speaking out, and if you look back to your childhood and those times when your mother did speak out, or she got so frustrated because she couldn't take it any longer,
Right.
what has
Right.
happened there is that she has kept it down and down and down, the hurt and the injustice, and she's kept it, forced it down until, like a volcano, it's got to come out.
Right.
Nobody said to her, as I'm suggesting to you, you need to find a way to communicate,
Right.
and
And I've been
you
trying
need to
that.
find a way to communicate with your husband so
Yeah.
that he hears you,
Right. Right. Right.
and
Right.
so that
Right.
you don't become a nag.
Right. Right. Right.
Okay,
Right. Mm-hmm.
because I actually think that you're right. I think you do have a great husband.
I just
I,
I think, but this carries over in other areas of my life.
of course,
Work. Putting all
of
this energy
course,
into work and wanting certain outcome or whatever, and then you know what I'm saying?
yes,
Um,
but of course it will, because you
yeah,
have all of this learned behavior.
right. I just don't.
You
What do I do to break it?
give me a minute. Let's see. What can you do to break it? I think first of all, you need to understand why you are this way.
Yeah.
So let's just go through it again. Learned behavior. You've been taught to keep the peace. You have seen what happens when you speak out because your mother made absolutely certain that you felt badly, laying on the guilt. If you hadn't done this or that, it wouldn't have gotten out of hand. Let's lay the guilt at your doorstep then. So, as a child, you saw the result of speaking your mind with your parents. But your parents have their own issues.
Hmm.
You are a grown up now. You have a daughter of your own. And as mothers, and especially those of us who are mothers with daughters, and I do this with my grandson as well, I have always said that The more you hold in a feeling, the worse it gets, the deeper it gets, and it either eats away at you and gives you panic attacks and makes you feel what's wrong with me
Mm-hmm.
because you're holding it all in, and it's poison that's you're holding in. It's pure poison that you're holding in. Or we let it out, but we need to understand that if we begin to speak about what we're feeling, if we sit down with our loved ones, this is what you need to teach your daughter. If you sit down with people you care about and explain to them how, yes, I suppress, and I know that I'm wrong in suppressing, but you're not wrong in making mistakes because we all do it.
Right.
And you need to be able to sit with your husband, and if he's as wonderful and as perfect and fabulous as you say that he is, and I'm not doubting that, then he will take on board what it is you're saying, and you will find together a different way of communicating. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you're starting to feel pressure and he doesn't spot it, it's because you're not letting him know.
Right.
And you're
Right.
allowing him to be completely in his own space.
Right. 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 Right.
Every time you say it's my fault and I know I'm wrong, you're giving him carte blanche to believe it.
Right. 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 Right.
But it's not true. There is nothing wrong with you except that you don't know how to communicate. In this same situation, what would you be telling your daughter? Would you be saying, suppress, like your
No.
mother did? Or would
No.
you be saying to
No.
your daughter, you need to talk about it? What would you say?
Right. Precisely what you're saying.
Okay.
Precisely. Precisely.
But
Yeah.
if you keep, it's like a pressure cooker. If you keep it down, when you do want to talk about it, you're going to talk about it in completely the wrong way. And you're going to
Right.
come across as aggressive. And then
Right.
he gets defensive. And then you
Right.
get more aggressive and so on. And then, do you understand?
Yes, I
And
do.
in a
I do.
work
Yeah.
and in a work situation,
Yep.
oh boy,
Yeah.
that's a whole other story, right? You're in trouble there because you don't say anything. You think other people have more authority than you do. You give it to them. You allow
Right.
them to walk all over you. So you've only got
Right.
yourself to blame when they do.
Right. 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 Right.
So
I see what you're
you
saying.
need to
Yes, I
learn.
hear you.
You need to learn to say firmly, non-aggressively, no. Can you learn that word?
Yes. No.
Which word
I
is
mean, no.
that? No.
No.
Or
Right.
stop.
Right. Or wait. Hold on.
Hold on. Uh, I'm going to tell you how it really is.
Right.
And if they interrupt you, you say, no, I'm not done.
Right.
You
Yeah.
have to learn. It's hard. It's not going to be easy for you, but you have to learn to be assertive. Be a little bit more assertive, not aggressive.
Right.
People don't understand there's a big difference between being assertive and being aggressive. You don't want to come across as being aggressive,
No.
but you do need to learn to be more assertive. Now, you and your husband need to sit down. I think that if you tell him or if you show him this,
Right.
let him listen to this, I think that he would be more than happy. Once he's got over the fact that he knew no, didn't have a clue, clueless, but he is a man, so we'll allow it a little bit. And it's your fault that he's clueless because you didn't say anything, right? So, people can only do to you what you allow them to do. And you've been allowing this to go on and on and on. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you talk to him, I think it would be really good when he sort of starts to make you feel less because you forgot his favourite chips and you're so disappointed in you. Tell him to figure it out. Get over your disappointment. We're not interested. Life is filled with disappointments. Grow up. Stop being a bully. Right? Yes, you're going to have to say that. I don't think he means to be.
Mm.
But you encourage it. So you need to, perhaps between the two of you, need to have a safe word. So if he's going off on you and you start to feel, right,
Right.
let's say your safe word is red. You say red. You agree to each other. You've got a safe word, right?
Yeah.
When you say the safe word, he has to stop, zip it, completely stop.
Right.
Then you
Right.
sit down, both take a breath, and then you can begin again. And if you start to feel less again, you say red, however many times you use it.
Right.
But if
Right.
he understands why you're saying it, he would be more than willing to help you through it because he is a nice guy. He's
Yes.
very gentle. He's very sympathetic. Not so much empathetic right now because he's missed all of this with you, obviously. Maybe he's empathetic to other people, but maybe takes you for granted. And you buy into it. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. Oh, I didn't mean to forget this. I didn't mean to do that. And then get a grip. You have nothing to be sorry for. You're a beautiful woman. He's lucky to have you. You're a fabulous mother. I know. Absolutely know that.
Thank you.
You're a pretty good wife. He's going to have to go a long way to find anybody better. And it's time he started appreciating you, but by listening to you, not by saying, "Oh, you look nice" and all the rest of it, and then
Right.
making you feel less because you didn't iron his shirts the right way or whatever it is that he gets, picky about. And let's say his pet peeve is that you don't iron his shirts right. Let's say that that's his pet peeve. Okay, give him the ironing board and the iron and tell him to do it himself. You're not being less. You're not being less of a wife if you don't do everything.
Right. Right.
You're not being
Right.
less of a work colleague if you can't handle everything.
Right. Right. I know. I know.
You are a
It's
beautiful, and it's time you started believing this. You're a beautiful, warm, and loving person. Now, you need to teach your daughter. I don't think she has much trouble in speaking out, actually. I think she's, quite a brave little girl. But you need to show her by your example
yeah.
how to speak out and how to communicate. Not aggressively,
Right.
but for goodness sake, Clara, firmly.
Right. Right.
Stop allowing yourself to be a doormat. Not just, I'm not saying about your husband, but for in any circumstance.
Right. 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 Right.
Someone pushes in front of you in the grocery store. No, 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 no. I know you're in a hurry, but no, I'm here, right?
Right. Yeah.
You've got to learn to be assertive. At work, you've got to learn, I hear what you're saying, but now I want you to stop and hear what I'm saying,
Right. Right. Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Non aggressively,
Right.
non confrontationally. Gosh, that's a big word to say. You're not looking for confrontation, which, go back to your parents, they were always looking for confrontation. Your mother was passive aggressive,
Mm.
could be very, very passive, and don't you upset him, and don't you rock the boat, and don't you do this and this. But when she wanted to do it, it was okay. So we're not pointing the finger at your mother, but you have learned that behavior. But when you talk to your husband or your work colleagues or whoever it is that you need to be more assertive with, I want you to remember short term peace, just for the sake of it, inevitably brings long term misery. And you've been trying to keep short term peace, and now you're unhappy and you don't know what to do about it. And how do I communicate? And how do I feel better? And it's all my fault, and I know it's all my fault anyway, which it isn't.
Right. Right. Yeah.
If you were here with me now, I'd give you a good shaking. I'd say, get a backbone, young lady. Don't be afraid to speak your mind or to say how it is you're feeling. Please don't say that anymore because I don't like it. Please don't do that anymore because I need you to respect me more and you're disrespecting me.
Right.
Please, please do not take that attitude. Do not sulk. Do not whatever. I don't like it. And you're
Right.
making me
Right.
feel less, and I'm not going to put up with it anymore, so please don't do it.
Right. 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 Right.
I think your
Right.
husband, and I'm pretty sure he loves you, but I'm pretty sure you've let him get away with this behaviour. A bit bullying, a bit pushing. She's not going to say anything. I don't think he even realises he's doing it, right?
Right.
But if you point it
Right.
out to him in a non confrontational way, then hopefully, and especially with a safe word, whatever that might be, and you can allow him to have his safe word too. So if you're sort of, going on or doing something or whatever it is, and he uses his safe word, you have to stop immediately. It's only fair that both of you have a safe word.
Right.
Okay.
Hmm.
And then once you've calmed and settled and so on,
Right.
then you can talk about
Right.
things in a
Right.
reasonable way. But I think the biggest thing you're missing in your life is respect. Now, I feel, I'm going to say this last thing, then I want you to talk about what we've said. But I feel very strongly that you don't respect yourself because you're always, I'm wrong, it's my fault, and so on. You don't respect the fact that you're a strong woman, a beautiful woman, and you do the best you can. If you don't respect yourself, my darling, nobody else is going to respect you either. And I think you should work on that, respecting yourself. And once you respect yourself, you will find it very easy to communicate. No, no, you please don't talk to me that way because I don't like it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Please don't behave that way to me. I deserve better. You've got to understand. You deserve better. You're not your mother. You're not your father. You know, you are
Hmm.
allowed to speak out. If you're feeling pressure or anxiety, it's because you're holding in all of those feelings and they are poison. So I want you to spit them out, not aggressively. I want you to get rid of that poison that's inside of you and have good conversations with your husband. And don't be afraid to have good conversations with your husband. The truth of the matter is, if he says, I'm not taking this anymore, and he walks out on you, good for you, because you deserve better then. But I suspect he'll say, I have no idea. I'm so sorry. Let's see if we can fix it. And if he does that, you can work together. You can work on what you have together. Because I think he's worth working on. As much as he might be a bit of a bully sometimes, I think he's worth working on. I think that basically is a really good, a really kind, and a really nice guy who has
Yeah.
no clue.
No clue.
Learned behavior.
Yeah.
This is where it comes from. But you can deal with it and you can put it right.
Right.
All right, now I've done all that talking. Tell me how you're feeling. How does this make you feel? When I say these things to you, are they resonating within you?
Yes, yes. I just yeah, I just
Speak to me. Come on. You just, come on, you can
I
do this.
try. I really do try, and I struggle. And this is part of the reason why I did this today. To
You
do this for
try
myself.
what you
What
try,
you're saying to me,
what
what you're
you
saying.
try to do. You try to be
Um,
perfect.
well, and I try to speak my truth. I do try, but someday I'll fall back into, okay, just, you know what I mean?
Be
I'll bite my
quiet. It's
tongue.
too
Right,
hard. It's too much effort. It's too hard. But this is what I say to you: short term peace brings long term misery.
right. And it's very, very,
You've
um,
got to be brave. You've got to be
right,
strong. And you've got to be a really great example for your daughter. That's what I'm hoping.
right, right, right. But I don't feel like I'm not strong, but I think I've taken these behaviors in ways that, what you're saying. And I understand cognitively what you're saying, you know, um, to it's doing it. Do you see what I'm saying? It's the
Oh,
doing it. And I'm like,
nobody,
well,
nobody says it's
what
going to
in God's name do I need to do for myself to make that change? Because I'm tired of it. You know what I mean? Like the struggle.
So tell me, do you have a better idea of what you need to do now to make that change?
Not really.
Okay,
Not really. I mean, I know what change, but how do you get there? I understand what you're saying. I do. I
okay.
acknowledge that.
My suggestion would be let your husband listen to this. If he's this wonderful good guy that you think he is, and I'm hoping he is, he'll say, why don't we do this together? You could have 5 or 10 minutes of every day, or but when before you go to sleep at night, or when when you after dinner or something, where he asks you how you feel, and you ask him how he feels, and you talk. You tell the truth, but non-aggressively. You don't wait until it blows up. You don't wait until you're on the defensive. You don't wait until you're trying to make a point. So, giving yourselves 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes of every day, sometimes towards the end of the day. And don't be surprised if sometimes you don't like what he says. And he can't be surprised if he doesn't like what you say. But you're talking and you're listening to each other and you're getting it off your chest. And,
Right.
I was really upset today if it's something about work, you talked to him about work, or if it's something that he said to you, about dinner. Well, I didn't, why did you make that today? I don't like it, or whatever. Then you say, I'm sorry I forgot, but if you want something to eat that you're going to like, you're going to have to make it yourself. Nothing wrong with saying that. You're not perfect. No human being on this planet is perfect. And you're trying to be perfect and you're struggling and it's making you ill. Suppressing your emotions makes us sick. It really makes us sick. So finding let him talk to him about this. Let him listen to this. I think he'll be responsive. He might not like me saying that he's a bit of a bully, but he is a bit of a bully. But you've allowed it. You've let it happen. So, you can't blame him if he sort of feels, that he can push you around a bit and you're not going to respond. You've got to stand up and say, no, 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 don't like that. No, and if you forget or you make a mistake, you forget to get the chips from the grocery store. Well, here's the car keys, darling. Go get them. If you really need them, you go get them. The responsibility is not all yours, so don't take it all. And when you sit and you talk, you give yourselves 15 minutes at night time to just talk, and Sometimes it'll be just light chatter, and sometimes it'll be a little bit deeper. But you get it off here, get it off your chest.
right,
And I didn't like the way you spoke to me, and he might say, "I'm really sorry about it," but you're going to feel so great because you actually dared to voice it.
right.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes, yes. Yep,
Will you dare to voice in a
exactly.
non-aggressive, non-confrontational way?
Right,
Will you learn to voice how you're feeling and let
right,
your husband help you?
right.
You know,
Yep,
if he wants a perfect woman, well, good luck with that because he's, he's never going to find one. Do you know how many people leave their spouses because they think they found something better? Now,
right,
if you were a witch, I would be saying to him, you need to leave her because she's a real witch. She's treating you really badly, right? But
right.
if we've got two great
Yeah,
people who love each other, care about each other, and then they split up for whatever reason because they think they've found something better.
right,
But the good stuff is often right under your nose, right? But it's not just how wonderful and perfect he is, because he's not perfect by any means. He's a bit of a bully, I'll say it again. Uh, but you are beautiful, wonderful, and you need to be valued. And he's not a mind reader, Clara,
we're right.
right?
Yeah,
You can't expect him to know how you're feeling. You can't expect him to understand your conflict if you haven't talked to him about it. He's not a mind reader.
right,
So, non confrontationally, take 15
right.
minutes of every day, see what he thinks to that. Does that give you a start?
Yeah, yes, it does.
It gives you a
It does.
beginning, gives you a place to go.
Yes, it does. Yeah, yeah. I
So,
appreciate your time. Thank you. Thank you.
how are you feeling about this now?
Um, Nervous, but I mean, I'm not one. I mean, I'll try it. You know what I mean? I as nervous as I am, or I am with anything that I'm starting, I'll do it. You know what I mean? It's like I want to get it done yesterday, kind of feeling. So,
I want you to take your time and take a breath. What is it? Can you tell me exactly what is it that you're nervous about? Are you nervous about his response? Are you nervous about your response? What are you nervous about?
his response, you know, making like wanting the change, making the change. It's a process, and I know things are a process, but
Yeah.
wanting to see results over
Yes.
time with myself. You know what
Yes.
I mean? And be able to see that with my daughter. My daughter will see that. Does
Yes.
that make sense? It's more
Oh,
than
without a
it's
doubt.
one thing to talk about it, but I want to behave that way. Do you know what I'm
Right.
saying? And
I do. We can sit here all day long and talk about,
right,
the things that are right, the things that are wrong, the things that
right,
caused it, how did it come about. But but if you don't do the hard work afterwards, it's all we've done is sit and talk, and it
right,
won't have made a difference. So you do have to, if you are genuinely wanting to change, you'll do the hard work. I mean, it's not easy. A lot of our bottom brickers, they don't do the hard work. Well, one or two of our bottom brickers, they don't. They're trying to keep the peace, keep it as it was, and still feeling really unhappy. But those who listen and those who make a move, we had one of our bottom brickers who quit a job, went back to school, is loving every minute of it, but she didn't believe that she could do it.
right,
She
right.
had no clue. She didn't believe in herself. I believe in you, my darling. Can you believe in you? Can you believe in you?
Hmm.
You are valuable, worthwhile. If your husband doesn't see it, good riddance to him. But I suspect that he will see it, and I think he will help you. So I think the first thing is probably let him listen to this if you feel that you can. Don't worry that I told you that he's a bully, that I'm telling the world that he's a bit of a bully, because I don't think he means to be. But sometimes we just get carried away with what we want and we forget other people's needs. We don't always see other people's needs, right? So it's a reminder to him that you're a partnership, and in a partnership, it's all about listening to each other, communicating with each other, and expressing our feelings to each other in a good and a positive way. And I know that you can do
Thank you. Thank you.
that. Was it as bad as you thought it was going to be?
It was intense. It was more
Yes.
intense than I thought. Yeah, it was intense. Yeah,
How are you feeling now?
I'm a little tired.
Forget you being tired. What about me? I'm the one doing all the hard work.
You did. You did a lot of hard work.
You're tired because it is this whole exercise can be emotionally exhausting,
Hmm.
but so worthwhile if you take the actions that you know that you need to take. All right, and you might want to let your daughter listen to this as well. I think she'd be fascinated, and we're teaching her that a strong woman can say what she feels inside without being aggressive, without being confrontational, and in a very constructive way. And that's with you and your husband. This is why I'm suggesting maybe 15 minutes or so every day of constructive sharing and listening to each other, you know.
Right.
So stop being a doormat. Stop allowing other people, especially at work, because you've got a very weird work situation going on there. And there are people at the top there fighting each other for let's say who's going to be in control and so on, and you sort of sitting underneath them trying to keep quiet about it, having your own feelings, but you are allowed to speak up and say you guys need to stop and we need to all work as a team.
Right. Yeah,
You need to say to them there is no I in team.
that's true.
remember
Very true.
remember that for work. And you and your husband are a team, and there is no I in team. So work together. You can do it. I believe in you.
Thank you.
Is there
Appreciate it.
anything else that you'd like to add or like to say
Oh no,
before we end this?
no, no. But thank you for your
You're done?
time. Thank you. Yes, I'm done.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Well, we should
Thank
come
you.
back to you and we hope you'll let us know how you did. You can do this. I promise you. I promise you, you can do it. I promise. All right. All right. Well, Clara, darling, we thank you so much. You've been so brave today and such an inspiration to other people, I think, because I know that there are a lot of people who will listen to this who will be thinking, that's just how I feel, and I don't want to rock the boat and I just want to keep the peace, but I'm so miserable inside. So I think that having you expressing this and us talking and discussing this. Yes, that girl bothers me. There's a girl here in you. But anyway, we can do that another time. Maybe when you come back, I'll talk about the girl who was very much with you through your childhood. And I'm suspecting that there's maybe someone in the spirit world who connects with you. I don't know if your mum lost a baby or something going on there, but I suspect you've got your own angel helping you there. But uh, probably somebody saying to you, you need to speak out. You need to speak out. You need to talk. You need to let people know how you're feeling. Um, anyway, all right. We have to. I could go on and on with this. We have to close now. So I'd like to thank everybody for listening. Clara, you've been such a fabulous and a wonderful inspiration. Very, very brave, and we do thank you very much for sharing your
Thank you.
life or a little bit of your life with us. And we love to have you back at some point in the future. All right, everybody, that's it for now. When will I see you again? Oh, Saturday morning. We're doing a story time on Saturday morning.
Saturday morning.
And until I see you again, please, 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 everybody, have a very blessed rest of the day and have a very blessed weekend, everybody. Bye bye. Say bye bye.